All right, y'all, welcome back. Happy Wednesday. Today, we're going to be updating you on a couple of things. Number one, NIL, because NIL Go just started yesterday. So, NIL Go is the process that all of these, college NIL contracts have to go through to make sure that it's not pay for play. Now, some teams didn't opt into this house settlement. Even if you didn't opt into the house settlement, which means that you can't share revenue from your institutions with those players, you still have to send the NIL contracts through this NIL Go. The biggest thing here is just to make sure that it's not pay for play. One of the easiest ways to make sure that, hey, we can still get these players money is to make sure that you're getting that, those NIL contracts from some big time companies. That is going to help out tremendously. So there's a company that's been floated around here on social media. Some of y'all might have seen it. It's called Learfield. So UGA is using them. Texas, they also came out here recently, said that they're going to be using them. Is Tennessee doing something similar, right? And we'll talk about exactly what Learfield does. And then revenue sharing, because obviously that started too. So we have to talk about how the allocation of money looks. We're going to update you on that. Please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And I actually want to start right here with Brayden Rouse, four-star linebacker from Kell High School here in the state of Georgia. He's a star. He's a stud. Absolutely love him. And we talked about, hey, he could maybe choose around the same time as his teammate, Joel Combe, who plays safety on the ninth. But it sounds like he might actually be choosing this weekend. Now, I saw that on 3. Is it 100% true? We don't know. But I can also tell you that Coach Inge was on Twitter tweeting out some stuff that makes me feel like somebody might have told them, hey, I'm going to be coming on home. And it was probably Brayden Rouse, because he's the only linebacker left. Coach Inge, obviously, is Tennessee's linebackers coach. So just kind of reading through all that stuff, I think that we could see it happening. And also on the 4th, there's a lot of players that don't necessarily have things set up that will be choosing programs, and maybe Brayden Rouse is one of them. So I don't mean to, take away his thunder or nothing. This is just pure speculation, but I had to start off right here because Dale Rivers chooses on the 4th. On the 5th, Moa chooses. Both of those players could be choosing Tennessee. And then next week, several more guys are going to be choosing Tennessee. So we cover this just about every single day now. Tennessee is still adding more players. This class could definitely end up finishing top 10 if we finish strong. So wanted to start off right there with some very, very positive news. Now let's take a look at how the revenue sharing allocations break down. On the left, you can see how it looks with the Power 4 programs. Now keep in mind one thing here. That's for everybody except for the SEC. The SEC would probably be spending anywhere from 70 to 75% of their $20.5 million on their football program. So there will be, a pretty big difference there. But also, if you look at the far right with all the other D1 programs, most of their money is going towards basketball. That's probably because they don't either, have a football program, or the football program isn't that good. It's not that big, so it's not even really generating that much money. So people are going to spend the money, where the money comes in at. That to me makes the absolute most sense. But I feel like basketball might have more parity moving forward if you're just talking about every single program versus football. But it's always been like that. And really, I've never looked at any like group of 5 program and said, hey, they have a chance to win a national championship. To me, that's just silly because they don't have the, resources or any of that to even, play on that type of level. So I feel like maybe the SEC will continue to have their leg up on everyone else with football. But, Big Ten's done a pretty good job with a couple of programs here. So we will see. But let me show y'all this, right? Like, let me show you how those numbers actually break down if we're just talking about football. So 70% of that $20.5 million would be $14.35 million as a point of reference. The NFL salary cap is $279 million, so nowhere near it. Y'all can also see down in the bottom right what the average NFL salary looks like. Maybe a couple of players on, 1 or 2 teams might be making that type of money, but that's going to be super rare. So y'all can see how those funds are going to be allocated to each individual spot on a team. And this actually makes a lot of sense for how Tennessee's team probably would look, because we're going to spend the most money on our quarterbacks. I think after that, probably left tackle / wide receiver. And then, so on and so forth. I just wanted for y'all to see how those numbers actually break down. Now, let me show you basketball, because there's a total of 26.6% that we feel like would be going to these 2 sports. So men's gets 20%, women's gets 6.6%. You can see that the men's basically salary cap will be $4.1 million. And that's nothing compared to the NBA. It's about $150 million less. But now with the women's, $1.3 million versus $1.5 million, that is very, very close. And if you're looking at the average salaries, men's basketball is not going to there's probably not going to be any players that make that much money. Maybe one, maybe 2 in all of college basketball. But for those women's, there's some players that might be making more than the average salary there. So that is, maybe that would help with Title IX. I don't know. I just wanted to show y'all how those numbers look. All right, y'all. Now let's talk about NIL. This is Learfield. This is their website, and this is the company that a lot of college programs are starting to use. They're mostly like a media rights company, but how teams are using them now is to help their players land real NIL contracts with some of these big brands. So almost kind of like an agent, right? Like this is what I would think an agent looks like. But so I would maybe call them like an agency. That's how these teams like Georgia or Texas, that's how they're using them. And I'll show you a full list of everyone that they have up on their website that is using them. I don't know if they're all using them the exact same way, but right here y'all can see what they did in from 2023 to 2024. In that fiscal year, $140 million plus is what they're able to get these student athletes. Right here, you can see all of the brand partners that they have that are activating NIL campaigns. Right here, this is the student athlete earnings through Learfield brand partners of $16 million plus. So that's pretty good. Keeping in mind that most kids aren't really seeing six figures, right? Like football players, basketball players, yes, but there's so many other players in different sports that aren't seeing anywhere near that. Okay, so like those 6 to 7 figure contracts, very, very rare, but I think that that's huge. Y'all can see some of the other stuff that they're doing. I also think that this is really, really good. It's almost 50-50 with female athletes to male athletes. I'm sure that they would like to get that right at 50-50. It's almost, that's almost impossible to do. But I think that that's really big. That's something that, should help these programs out. I am all about equal rights. So right here, you can see just some of their other things. So like their median deal is about $3,000, and that's going to be per like social media post or per showing up somewhere and doing some autograph signings and things like that. I think that that looks pretty doggone good, and you can see some of these other things. So this is what teams have to do now because it's going to be difficult for you to pass the typical pay for play stuff. That's coming from these big time boosters and donors. I'm not even gonna say it's gonna be difficult because honestly speaking, if someone shoots down one of those contracts, you take them to court, and the powers that be, the college sports mafia, they're gonna lose that one. I think probably 100% of the time. They would need some type of a government pass. Doesn't feel like that's really gonna happen. But let me also show y'all this, okay? I want to show you all the programs that are using them. All right, so these are their partners, and we'll just scroll it on up. Let me come back over here. All right, boom. So we'll just scroll this on up. You can see some of the teams here, right? So there's a whole lot of big names. Some of these teams I've never really even heard of. You can see those doggone dogs up there. Absolutely can't stand them. All right, let's keep on going. Michigan's up there. Some of these teams should definitely kind of stand out to you. I know that right here with Oklahoma, they have I think that they have somebody pretty high up in their in this organization, maybe like one of the founders of this company. You see that these Buckeyes are up here, and we'll be talking about them some more here in just a second. Oregon, they're up here, which that just goes to show. I mean, dude, like they got all that Nike money, right? Like they got Phil Knight. You would think that they don't really even need this, but you gotta use everything that you possibly can. But this one right here, man, I was so happy to see our Tennessee Volunteers on this list. So that's huge. Is Tennessee using them like UGA or like Texas? I sure do hope so because like we have to find ways to make this work. But shouts out to what Danny White's doing. You know what I'm saying? Just like pretty much, even though we're not coming out publicly and talking about everything, Tennessee is definitely gonna do what it takes. Let me also just keep on scrolling through. I'm happy to see UT chat. They're up there too, and that's it. So it says that there's more than what's up here. I don't know. I think that maybe they said that because they expect for them to add more to this list. But let me also bring this up for y'all. All right, so this is Jeremiah Smith, and he did sign an NIL contract with Adidas, and this is something that Tennessee fans have started to talk about. This is why folks are saying that we should make the transition to the three stripes. But let me make sure that everyone understands this very, very clearly. Number one, Jeremiah Smith is a generational talent. He's the best wide receiver that I've seen in a long, long, long time. I think that just as a prospect, he's the best one that I've seen maybe since like Julio Jones. Like he's that dude, okay? I think everyone should know that. But his school, right? Those Buckeyes are not sponsored by the Three Stripes. They're sponsored by Nike. So what this does tell me is obviously, Jeremiah Smith is one. Tristan Keys, he's another one. He's not in college right now. I don't know that his high school team has a sponsorship with anyone, but because these players are so highly rated and, they have a really big social media following, it's easier for them to get these types of really big deals. So, you know, we looked at those Buckeyes. They are actually partners with Learfield. Learfield could have helped them get this deal, or maybe they helped them. Either way, this caliber of player, they can land NIL deals like this, and they probably, you know, they really don't need too much help. But would it help Tennessee out if the Three Stripes came to us and said, hey, you know what? We're willing to spend all this NIL money. And since we want for y'all to be our flagship program, we're going to start allocating money directly to y'all's NIL. Now, see, that would make a ton of sense. And this would be my dream deal if we do go to the Three Stripes. And I think that we might hear something on this pretty soon, maybe like within the next couple of weeks. Who's Tennessee's sponsor going to be? Will we stick with Nike, or will we go to those Three Stripes, or is it going to be somebody else? But I would love for the deal to look like 7 years, $200 million. Again, keeping in mind that they want us to be their flagship program. The biggest deal that we know of that they have with the college program is with Louisville. That was 10 years, $160 million. So I think that it's good to have shorter terms so that, hey, if this isn't working out, we can, you know, maybe back out of the deal, but also we need a lot more money. So I'm talking about $28.5 million per year. That's twice what Louisville's getting. We are the flagship program. We got to get paid like it, and hey, it could look even better than this. But the biggest thing for me is allocate $10 to $20 million directly to Tennessee's NIL. That could get us 10 to 20, maybe even more, of the highest rated players in the country with NIL deals that will get cleared through that NIL goal. This is how we can, you know, win championships. This is what takes us over that edge. And, you know, we could allocate as many funds as we want to our football program, or, you know, to the basketball programs, right? Both of those. And then some to like baseball and some smaller programs too, right? I think that they should let us kind of like handpick the players that we want to get these deals. If they can do that, then this is an absolute no-brainer. We gotta make that switch. And then also, man, look, the school would have $8.5 to $18.5 million that, you know, they can allocate to some different things, probably going more towards some of these sports that aren't really making much of a profit, if any profit, you know, the ones that are losing money. You could do it that way, or, I mean, shoot, if it was me personally, I would allocate every single bit of those funds directly to our NIL. And let's go win some daggum championships, man. But those are my thoughts. Please share yours with me down in the comments section. And as always, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks. Peace. Thanks for watching. And please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.